Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, reality TV, and more, including reality TV recaps. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we upload or when we go live. Today, I wanted to do a quick recap of the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. I know last week we didn't do one. That's because you'll find out why. So the latest season of 90 Day Fiancé, I've been talking about it, Happily Ever After. We've been talking about it. It's not that great. They've taken 3 couples from the 90 Day Fiancé cast from last season and brought them over to Happily Ever After. And I keep saying it was a bad decision. And the reason why, it was because these 3 couples were not that interesting. At least 2 out of the 3 were not that interesting. To the point, in this latest episode of Happily Ever After, we don't even see Yara and Jovi. Yes, we will see them next week, but it's the same storyline. Yara is so upset at Jovi about being immature. She's upset about Jovi going away. That's his job, Yara. We've already gone through this last season on 90 Day Fiancé, and I'm not interested. Yes, it's a cute little couple, but they're not interesting enough for us to want to watch. But I'm not going to spend too much time on them because they did not make an appearance in this latest episode. But speaking of couples that were transferred over from 90 Day Fiancé to Happily Ever After, Brandon and Julia. Brandon and Julia in this episode are rehashing what we saw last week in regards to Julia meeting one of Brandon's old friends that's pretty much a doppelganger for Julia. And this friend bringing up her issue with Julia possibly coming here to America just for a green card. I didn't see that one coming. Did it feel a little pre-produced? Definitely. But I enjoyed the last week, the episode of Brandon and Julia and having that little interaction. But this week it was sort of like, we're still talking about this. We're still talking about this, and next week it looks as if we're going to be talking about Julia getting her reply in regards to does she get a green card? Can she stay in the country? Not interested. I'm not interested. But I know you don't want to hear this entire video. Oh, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So Kempire, why should we listen to this recap? Because there are some couples worth talking about and worth digging into. Speaking of couples that were transferred over from 90 Day Fiancé to the 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Mike and Natalie. Mike and Natalie are in Oklahoma for Thanksgiving. And if you've been following me on this channel and my recaps of 90 Day Fiancé, Mike, I am slowly having this little hatred for, and I have hatred for no one, but every time he comes on the screen, I'm just like, get off the screen. Why are you here? This is such an obvious attempt at you trying to make money off this show, trying to have a storyline. You married this woman. I think he had ulterior motives in regards to marrying Natalie. Natalie, I understand why people don't like Natalie. Natalie can be abrasive. Natalie can be rude in the way that she speaks. I think partially that's a culture thing, but I also think that's also a Natalie thing. So she's spending time with Mike's mom. And look, Mike's mom, we found out in 90 Day Fiancé, where they originated, that mom had asked Tamara to step up during the wedding and object to the wedding. Natalie found that out during the tell-all. And look, I've said this multiple times. If I was in Natalie's position, I would not like his mother either. Would I be respectful? Would try? Definitely. But at the same time, don't come at me while I'm in your home with every single little thing that I'm saying and doing, or about my career, or what I should be doing according to you. I agree with the mother that yes, her translating and doing things like that is profitable. But if that's not her passion, you don't want her to do that just to do that as a job. We also find out in this latest episode that Mike says that she doesn't really do anything around the house. I just feel like, first of all, Mike, you're sharing way too much with your mother. But also, I feel like you're lying because you have not brought this up any other time. We don't even see in the 90 Day Fiancé episodes where you're saying, come on, I need you to help around the house or do stuff. I mean, that could be editing out things, who knows? But it seemed as if she was doing things around the house. Like every time we would see her, she was like sweeping, cleaning, or making food. So I find that hard to believe. I feel like you're just adding fuel to the fire of your mother. The mom is trying to, tick Natalie off this episode. First of all, speaking of ticking Natalie off, okay, so they're the room that they're staying in. There's this, in the doorway, there must be this unfinished area. Okay, I get it. We all have unfinished areas in our home that, maybe we're under construction. But if you're having guests and they're going back and forth into this room, why wouldn't you put something there? Why wouldn't you? I mean, it makes for great TV for us to talk about, but still, she really could have been hurt from a nail or whatever that situation is. Never mind the piggies in the cabinet. What's going on with the floor? The mom in the hat and the mask was a sight to be seen. The mom taking Natalie out to, first of all, backtracking just a little bit. Natalie wants to be an actress. She's like, if Johnny Depp, that's a serious, he's a serious actor and star. Acting is a serious job. Natalie, I get what Natalie's trying to say. Natalie is pretty much saying, that's her passion. Should she be trying something else? Should she be trying something that's going to bring in money? Probably. I do feel like this is the mom's way of pre-producing on her own end. But the interaction between the mom and Natalie is definitely interesting. It's definitely worth watching. I didn't really love the beginning of this Mike and Natalie's story. I'm still not loving Mike specifically. Natalie walking out of the butcher. I'm sure her walking up to the butcher, she kind of figured it was a butcher. When you walk in, you can probably figure it is a butcher shop. And I'm sure there are plenty of vegans and, non-meat eaters that go into butcher shops with family or friends and they're okay. But I also understand if they don't want to go in there, especially if you have an aversion to animal meat. Okay. I don't feel like she put on this big dramatic exit. She just was like, I'm going to be outside. I don't think that was worthy of them being like, oh my gosh. But as I said, I'm watching this couple. I think the interaction between the mom and Natalie is probably the most interesting part of the season for them. But we will, look, I'll keep watching just for them. I think they're probably the most interesting of the couples that came over from 90 Day Fiancé the last season. But speaking of some of the newer couples that we have seen in previous seasons, but are back again. Libby and Andre. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. And I know a lot of people are like, why are we watching this show? Them of all people, I believe their storyline up until this season. I believe, of course, everything in reality TV, there has to be some sort of pre-production. We get that. But this family is so desperate. Look, if you don't know, I hear that Libby's on OnlyFans. She's doing things there. They look like they're desperate for money. They want to continue their storyline on this show because people had such a big reaction to the family over the last couple of seasons. And I do believe that those reactions were real. But this season, everything that they do feels so forced and fake. On the conversation that Libby had with her sister about getting a babysitter and not telling him, okay, girl. And then him going out to this house that they're renovating and he's banging. First of all, I've seen reno. I watch HGTV all the time. I've never seen them reno a refrigerator like that. I think they just normally take the doors off and move it. I don't see them banging the doors. I've seen them bang like cabinets and things like that, but maybe I'm wrong. If you do renovations, you'll let me know in the comments. But it just seemed a little extra. I believe Andre is as angry as he appears to be, but Libby's brother coming over and saying, oh, the neighbor called me and told me that they heard banging over at the house. Somebody's destroying the house. I didn't believe it. I don't believe this storyline. Libby's the worst actress. Libby, do me a favor. Don't ever take up acting. You are the worst. Everyone else, it seems to be a little bit better than you, but you are the worst. When you're getting angry about how they're talking about your husband, I am wore out from this family because I don't believe it. And next week we get to see the infamous fight that they previewed before. I don't believe it. I don't believe the physical altercation was real. Get off my show. And 90 Day producers, if you don't start getting it together and giving us something that feels real, like I get it, there has to be some pre-production, but if we don't get something that's real, I'm going to stop recapping it and I'm going to stop watching it. And I'm going to tell people to stop watching it too. But you know who's saving the show? But before we get to her, another person helping contribute to this show is Tiffany and Ronald's story. I believe that their story is real. We've seen Tiffany and Ronald before. Ronald's in South Africa. She's here in the States, in Maryland, and she has a conversation with her father about. Well, first off, we find out that he's been approved. His visa has been approved. Now they have to go through the interviewing process. She has to have a co-sponsor because she does not make enough to sponsor him herself. So we see her tell him this information, and she has to ask her father to be a co-sponsor, but she's never told her father about Ronald's past or his gambling issues. First of all, we meet her father and we're like, damn, I completely forgot how handsome her father is. I mean, her mom is beautiful, but her father, wow. I digress. But she has the conversation with her. Her father seems, although he's been a little bit absent from her life, he seems okay with sponsoring him, but he didn't know about this whole gambling issue. And based on what we know, this gambling issue was in the past, but then it came up recently. So he had some serious issues with that. And honestly, if it was me and she was asking me to co-sponsor, I would have to say no. That's too much of a risk factor. We find out specifically in Kehlani's story, we didn't get a lot from Kehlani in this story. The only thing that we got is that because of the Trump administration during this time, they changed the requirements from a 10-year responsibility to a lifetime responsibility. I looked it up. And look, there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, but Biden did pass a new executive order restoring some of those actions and laws and things like that in regards to immigration. So there has been a change. I'm not sure if there's a specific change to the 10-year versus a lifetime. I believe so. I couldn't find the specific wording in this, but he did pass back in February of 2021 that he passed an executive order in regards to immigration and the K-1 visa. So there is an alert on the K-1 visa site. The things that I do for these videos, the amount of research. So we find that out in the Kehlani situation that it would be a lifetime responsibility. Her father is going to be her co-sponsor on it. She already had that conversation with him, but she goes to a lawyer to let her father know the changes and what that responsibility will mean. But getting back to Tiffany and Ronald, she has to ask her father. I'm not sure if they're going to address the whole lifetime situation, but even so, 10 years is a big responsibility. If there is a doctor's bill, if there is, he's lost his job, her father's going to be a part of that responsibility. Honestly, based on his history and what we're finding out, I couldn't do it. But I thought it was interesting that Tiffany's mom was like, don't tell him. I mean, they're not together anymore, the mom and her father, but still, don't tell him. But I'm glad Tiffany was like, no, I can't do that. I need to be open and honest about what he's signing up for. I mean, obviously, because he's going to find out on the show. But at the same time, like that would have been, really, Mom? Really? But I have to say, Tiffany, I think her storyline is solid. Is it the most interesting? Could it carry the season? No. Especially because we have 3 couples on here that are just boring. Boring. Mike and Natalie, not so boring, but boring. Let's get to who is saving 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, and it's Angela. Angela, the last episode, she pretty much was out. She couldn't really give us what we need for a show, but she's back. She's back talking. She's still in a lot of pain. She's trying out green juices. Her interaction with these people make it so interesting. But not only is she changing her diet, still smoking. Angela, this is your life, Angela. Come on. Stop playing games. And that still is an issue coming up. So not only did she get the sleeve, she also had the breast reduction. And now she's looking to have a chin lift and the facelift. And she meets with another handsome doctor. And she reacts. Let that be Michael. Michael would be dead on site if even if it was recorded and she was nowhere, he would have gotten it. And I'm sure they're going to address that during the tell-all. But Angela is so funny. You love seeing her interaction. I love seeing her interaction with JoJo, who helped her. When Angela broke down in that confessional, I really believe that. I really believe that, I don't believe that they're as tight as they're making it seem on the show, but I do believe that she needed JoJo in that instance after that surgery because she has so many different surgeries. And from what I've heard, that you're not the same for a good while. So she needed her support during that time. So Angela breaking down when JoJo was leaving, I was like, I really believe that tugged at my heartstrings. Of course, we get to see more of Angela, as I said before, her getting a green juice, smoking, talking to Michael. Michael is not happy with her wanting to get this facelift and chin lift situation, because he's like, when he finds out from this handsome doctor that it's going to be $25,000, he's like, it is a lot of money. But do we believe that Angela's actually paying for this? Not to say that she couldn't, but I mean, it's being featured on the show. The doctors get, exposure to millions of people. I don't believe it. I believe it's very, very possible that these doctors are sponsoring this because it's going to be featured on a platform where millions of people watch 90 Day Fiancé. I don't know if you guys know that. It's a huge franchise. And that's part of why I'm kind of sick and tired of the fake and phony. Like, you built this empire off of really great stories. And now it's becoming a little too fake. And maybe it's the pandemic, and maybe it'll get better next season. I'm hoping. But back to Angela. So Angela meets with the doctor, gets a consultation about what it will look like. She has the doctor speak with Michael in Nigeria when it's 1 a.m. Poor Michael. I'm like, why does Michael look so mad? Because it's 1 a.m. Michael is still not okay with this. He's not okay with the price. But Angela's like, I'm getting it done. We knew that already, Angela. I don't know why you're pretending. Oh, yeah, it's for a show. As if she was not going to get the surgery no matter what he said. It's her money. She said, and she clearly said, I've, flown out to Nigeria multiple times. I've, given him money. And we may recall, if you've been watching the show for a long time, Angela also did not want him out and about working because she, feared that he'd be flirting with other women. So she's taking care of his lifestyle there. It'll be interesting to see if Michael does make it to the United States. They are already married. So eventually, hopefully, maybe he will, especially with this new administration. Not that he's a pro of this administration, because you remember, if you've been following Angela and Michael's story, anyways, I don't want to get too political, but Angela's saving the season for me. I enjoy it. We get to see more of Angela next week in regards to her of her surgery and what she's going to do. That it's a lot of surgery. If you've seen the new pictures of Angela, she looks very different. It's a little awkward to see what Angela looks like now. But it also could be because it was just after the surgery. Certain things got to settle. And she had to do this for her, first of all, for her health. And then, look, it's just a ripple effect. Once you have that sleeve, put in, it's like a ripple effect. Okay, now you have to fix, loose skin, because then you're trying to feel better about yourself, also take care of yourself. But you're not going to feel better about yourself if you have loose skin everywhere. So I get why she wants to have these surgeries and why it's necessary to have these surgeries. I'm sure she's racked up a bill of over $100,000 from these surgeries. But as I said before, I'm pretty sure, like Mama June, this was probably paid for by the show or by these doctors, and they did it carte blanche, whatever. Anyways, guys, that's it for the 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After recap. Let me know your thoughts on the couples. I probably forgot a couple, and it doesn't matter, because if I've forgotten the couple, then you weren't that great in this episode. It's Angela saving the day for me. Angela and Tiffany and Ronald's story. Tiffany and Ronald's story is not as interesting to me, but Angela is definitely saving the day. Tiffany and Ronald feel like a real story. Mike and Natalie's story, I'm still following just because they're a mess in a lot of different ways. And maybe she's just a really good actress, and that's why I'm sort of convinced that it's somewhat real. Libby and Andre, get off my show. Brandon and Julia, you're boring. Yara and Jovi, you're just as boring. But you'll let me know. Maybe you are invested in some of these couples, and there's more that you want me to say on them, or there's more that you want to say. Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload.